Hi strangers, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be ranking all the guns in BRM5. Last time I did this was like February 18th, 2023, and then the year before that I made one like February 25th, 2022. So apparently I have a yearly tradition of making these things in February, but that's not the point. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. They are kind of in order, so we have snipers, DMRs, shotguns, SMGs, battle rifles, and then carbines and assault rifles. So everything's sort of in order here. So we're going to start with the sniper rifles, and this tier list is directed towards PvP because open world, it doesn't matter what you use. I'm sorry. The people asking what are the best guns in open world, just grab an assault rifle and go, you big nerd. It's not that hard. You're shooting AI. It really does not matter what you're using. I would not recommend shotguns though, because you don't have enough reserve ammo to really do anything. Just grab like literally everything but shotguns, okay? You can run anything in open world, dude. Come on. It's AI. So anyways, PvP, 5v5, 2v2s, 25v25 I guess technically as well. We're just going to start with snipers. Hecate is probably the worst primary in the game. Now, it is also probably the most fun primary in the game. The problem with the Hecate is it is very slow. Not only in its bolting speed, but also in its movement speed. You are basically a big slug with this thing. Now, it's very fun to shoot 50 BMG, don't get me wrong, obliterating children is so much fun, and I love the snipers in this game, but it's hard to say they're really good, especially for the average player. These guns suck. The Hecate, it's French, doesn't matter. I'm sure I just upset someone by saying that. The Hecate is... the problem with the Hecate is that it's so slow to get follow-up kills. So like 5v5s and 2v2s, especially on like smaller maps, it's really difficult to get multiple kills without, you know, getting jumped while you're bolting it. Granted, you can pull out your secondary, but this is about primaries today, not secondaries. So Hecate, it's probably the worst gun in the game, worst primary in the game, I mean, just because it's so slow. But it's super powerful, can one-shot torso, which really is its saving grace. If it only one-shot head, no one would use this. I've seen quite a bit of people asking it to one-shot limbs. I think if they were to do that, give it one-shot arms instead of just, like, everywhere. You know, I feel like that'd be fine. As of right now, honestly, I wouldn't mind if the Hecate got a buff. And if it did get a buff, I think bolting speed is fine. I like how slow and chunky it is. It makes it feel really powerful. But giving it a one-shot arms and CQC, I think would be good. Not give it all, you know, all range. That way in 25-25, you're not just cross-mapping people like crazy easy. But I think for 5v5 and 2v2, I wouldn't mind that as much. You know what I'm saying? So if it was me, I would give it, you know, a one-shot arm and CQC, but that's really all I would tweak with it, because I like it being slow and heavy and being the 50 BMG sniper. Next up, we have the Ultima Ratio and M24, also tied as probably one of the worst primaries in the game, because these guns only one-shot head. Ultima Ratio and M24 are kind of interchangeable depending on what you want. Very fast bolt. They have the same bolting speed at 45, which is very quick, all things considered. It makes getting, you know, if you can hit headshots, these guns are really fun and really good, but very challenging. You know, it's fun to get those chain kills. The M24 is lighter, but can only have 5 rounds. The Ultima Ratio has 10, but is heavier, so that's kind of where like you can pick which one you think is better and stuff like that. XM and I'm going to go ahead and put in C tier. They're definitely better than the other snipers, but still not great. They're probably the most user-friendly snipers to also use. XM has 40 RPM, I believe, and can one-shot torso with extended barrel. Not a lot of people apparently know that, I guess. I've seen a lot of people just not running the extended barrel, which I think is very important, because then you get that one-shot torso. It just crosses 100 damage, so... In CQC, you should be one-shotting torso. I don't know how far it goes out to, but you can one-shot torso with the XM. 7 rounds as well with extended magazine, so pretty above average magazine capacity as well. Quick bolting speed, fairly lightweight, I'd say. Is probably the best sniper. If you are getting into sniping and stuff like that, I would highly recommend using the because it's just probably the most beginner-friendly. One-shot torso, pretty much all ranges. One-shot head. Pretty quick bolting speed, good ammo. It's a really good sniper for people getting into it. If you want to get into snipers and you want to get good at snipers and not use a crutch weapon, sorry, but it's true. These two are crutch weapons, crutch snipers. Not to say they still take a lot of skill to use, but I mean, you know, when it compared to the ultimate ratio and M24 over here, you know. If you want to get really good at sniping, I'd recommend these two down here. If you just want to get into sniping, then I'd recommend these two up here. Don't use the Hecate unless you're looking to goof off, though. You know, if you're trying to win games, would not recommend the Hecate. But the other snipers, yeah, you know, you get good enough with them, yeah, you can probably win. DMRs. Not a lot of people use these guns. Can't really blame them either. SVDS, I'm going to put in C tier. It's basically, I mean, the DMRs are basically just semi-automatic snipers, so they are kind of better than them. SVDS is just very, very slow. OTS-03 is 20 rounds, extra magazine capacity. It's basically just the SVDS, but better, in my opinion. And the M110 is also really, really good. Fairly fast firing. It can also have 20 rounds, I believe. So if it was up to me, M110, OTS-03 are better than the SVDS, because the SVDS is basically just slow. It's the Hecate of the DMRs, you know what I'm saying? Not much to say about the DMRs. No one ever really uses them. I can't really blame them for it, because they are kind of... Why would I not just use an assault rifle at this point? Sniping is fun because, oh, look at me, I gotta play around this bolt. It's kind of a fun thing to play around and very, very gratifying to use well. DMRs, they're not fun, in my opinion. You know, they're just kind of weird guns. I guess I should also specify that a lot of this is going to be my opinion, if not obvious. So, if you don't agree, then that's not my problem, even though I'm right. Shotguns. I'm going to put these suckers in B tier. I know that's going to be a very, very controversial take. I am absolutely confident saying that. But the thing with shotguns is that they are very, very inconsistent. Yes, they can one-shot, and yes, can cross-map people like a sniper. Yes, they can do everything, but they're very inconsistent. I also am not a big fan of, you know, individually loading with the the Benelli, M1014, whatever. But both are very, very powerful. They're just very inconsistent, which I don't really care for. They can be S tier, they can be D tier. I mean, they really can be anywhere on the list, and which is why I think B tier is perfect for them, because they're just so inconsistent. Next up, we have the UMP-45. I'm going to put this sucker in A tier just because this thing with extended barrel is a 4-shot min. As of right now, 4-shot limbs for the UMP is really, really crazy, and not a lot of people are using it. The major downside of the UMP, though, and I will admit, it rarely does come into play, but for 25 to 25, this is a big deal. Its velocity is worse than the AS Val down here. It has like a velocity of like 900, which is very slow. You can still get people with it, but very, very rarely will you be outgunned. It's something to keep in mind, but 4-shot, oh my god, 25 damage min is absolutely insane. I think the only other gun that... Actually, I'm not sure if the battle rifles can even do that. I'm pretty sure the battle rifles are a 5-shot min. We'll get into that later. I think they're 5-shot. I don't think they're 4-shot anymore. I think they used to be. Anyways. P2K. This is also a gun that's pretty slept on. Not going to lie. I'm going to put that sucker in A tier. Very, very lightweight. 44 round mags. 1-shot head. If you can aim, it's got annoying recoil, I will admit, but this thing lets you play so aggressively, and for a 44 round mag, it's very, very easy to reload with. A very strong, hyper aggressive gameplay. I mean, it's really good. You really can't underestimate just how strong the subguns are in this game. Not a lot of people use them. It's kind of sad. P90, just easy S tier, man. This gun, like, it doesn't one-shot head, yes, but 50-round magazine is nothing to scoff at. Blistering high fire rate. You can outgun pretty much anyone you go up against, especially with 50 rounds. Very lightweight as well. Very, very, very low recoil. I know it used to get down to 19 recoil, but I think they nerfed it and gave it more recoil. If I'm being honest with you, it does not matter at all. That gun is a laser beam. You could just drop people from, I mean, anywhere. Like, this gun just burns through people. Burns through ammo, and also burns through people. Super, super, super good gun. Very cheap. Like, really anyone can get this gun in, like, maybe an hour if you grind. And that's in, like, PvP or something like that. You play open world, you get this thing in, like, 5 minutes. But yeah, the subguns are super good. I just don't see enough people use them. MP7. I'm gonna put this sucker in B tier. It has less okay. I gotta vent my anger against the MP7 because I love the MP7. I think the IRL MP7 I think is super, super, super cool. It's probably one of my favorite guns of all time. But in BRM5, it sucks so much. It's just a worse P90 in like every single category ever since it's been in the game. It's just a worse P90. I think it actually has worse headshot damage than the P90, which yeah, that just says everything for you. The MP7 is just a worse P90 in every way, shape, or form. It's more expensive. The one upside, I believe, to the MP7 is that you do have, I think, more velocity and more range, but if I'm being honest with you, it doesn't really matter. It also does have less recoil, but the P90 is such a laser beam that, if I'm being honest with you, 17 recoil is nothing to be really like, oh my god, he's 17 recoil. Like, it's hardly noticeable. Yes, is it very, very accurate? Yes, it's very, very low. It's very, very low recoil, very accurate, absolute laser beam, but when you kind of look at the P90, it's like, I can handle a little bit more recoil for literally everything else being better. Next up, we have the MP5. MP5, I'm also going to put in A tier. It's very strong. It can one-shot head. That's why I put it over the MP7. Also very accurate. I mean, the subguns are just good in this game, man. Like, I really don't see enough love for them. The P90 I see quite often, which it deserves, don't get me wrong. But the subguns are really good. Battle rifles, here's where I start to have some grievance with. The Scar H, it just sucks. Okay, when the FAL exists, it's just way better. The FAL is, I believe, at 5 shots now. Hold on a second, I'm gonna go check something. I should have an image, or maybe I just go into game real quick. Hold up, you know what? I'm just gonna go into BRM5. You'll get to witness this happening. I gotta check BRM5 like right now, because I actually don't remember if it's a 5 shot or not. Ba 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 ba. Okay, I just checked in-game. Both the battle rifles are a 4-shot man, which is really nice for the Scar H, don't get me wrong. Helps it out a lot. But it's pretty slow firing, and honestly, whatever, man. You know, and also, it can only have a 20-round mag. FN FAL can have a 30-round mag, faster fire rate, also a 4-shot man. It's like, why wouldn't you just use the FAL? You know? It's another one of those P90 MP7 situations where one, in my opinion, is just way better than the other, and you probably should just completely ignore the other. The 30-round mag for the FAL is going to be taken away soon. So, hey, if you want a free glitched item, grab your FAL, buy the 30-round mag, equip it, wait for the update to drop, and then bam, you got a glitched item that no one else has in the game. You got a 30-round FN FAL. And 4-shot men really just carry this gun. Very fast fire rate. If I had to make a recommendation, I would hip fire with this gun because aiming down sights is absolutely egregious. The recoil is egregious on the FAL. Don't get me wrong. You can't really fight at a long distance. That is a major drawback for it. But it's an absolute monster in CQC if you can't hit headshots. You know, like if you can't hit headshots, 4-shot man is nothing to scoff at, okay? Like that is big damage. Scar H is literally just a worse effing FAL in my opinion. I understand it's got a 4-shot min. That's the kind of the battle rifle thing. But for the RPM and the recoil, I would just much rather take a carbine or assault rifle at that point. I don't think it's worth it to use just because of how slow it is. And yeah, I feel like I'm getting more kills with the FAL just because of how fast firing it is. Like I don't have to aim his head. But when I'm using the Scar H, just because of how slow firing it is, I always aim for the head. Granted, I usually try to do that anyways. But with the FAL, I feel like I can get away with getting limb shots and not have to focus headshots. But with the Scar H, I feel like I absolutely have to hit heads if I want to live. So, major drawback for it. SR3M. This is a really, really good gun. AS Val I will also put in this tier because they are pretty much identical, I would say. SR3M is a 30-round mag. AS Val is a 20-round mag. But AS Val is way more expensive. It kind of comes down to preference here on which one you prefer. I like having the 30-round mag, but the flash on this gun is absolutely insane. You do need a suppressor or a flash hider if you want to use this gun, because you just can't see anything with the SR3M without it. Like, its muzzle flash is way too bright. I understand it's like 900 RPM shooting bullets down range. Like, it's going to be hard to see. I understand that. But it is a big problem. AS Val, SR3M are both really, really good guns. Both really slept on. I need to take a sip of water. I've been talking too long. But, like I was saying, these two guns are very, very good. Both very, very lightweight. Integrally suppressed is really cool as well. I mean, what can I say? These guns are really cool. If you want to have the AS Val but are poor, buy the SR3M. Try it out. See what you think about that. If you like the SR3M, then I would say go for the AS Val. Honestly, I found myself going more often for the SR3M over the AS Val, but I feel like the AS Val is more consistent for some reason. And the SR3M is a lot more all over the place in my performance with it, but both are very, very, very strong. Alright, next up. I was going to say SG553, but I'm going to throw the HK416 S tier. I don't think I really need to even explain this one. It's basically an M4A1, which I'm going to go and put in A tier. It's basically an M4A1, which is super, super good in all categories. Like, you just can't go wrong with these guns. But the HK416 has such a high fire rate that you will just outgun most people at any distance. I've seen quite a bit of people be like, oh, but the HK416 has too much recoil. Just pull down, dude. It's not that hard. Like, the HK416's recoil is so easy to control. Like, I'm sorry. It's not that bad. Blistering high fire rate, one-shot head, which is still absolutely insane to me. Like, I'm sorry. Just one-shot head is crazy. I understand it is a rifle caliber. I understand that. I'm pretty sure it's 5.56 or 2.23 or whatever. Standard rifle caliber. I understand that that's going to, kill someone if it hits them in the head. But for the sake of game balancing, it's absolutely insane. Same thing with the FAMAS. I'm going to put the FAMAS in A tier. The FAMAS is just a worse HK416 in my opinion. It has a slightly faster fire rate, more recoil, less ammo. Yeah, I once again, hey look, a P90 MP7 situation where they're very similar, but one's just worse, which makes sense. So yeah, HK416, everyone uses it. I mean, it's so easy to use it, and so easy to do well with it too. Like, it's, that's all I can say. That's literally like all I can say, man. Like, it's such an easy gun to use. AK-74, I'm also going to put in A tier here. Okay, I didn't even talk really about the M4A1. I just kind of said it was like a HK416, but, not as fast firing, which is very true. AK-74 and 4A1 are two very, very, very basic guns. They are your vanilla ice cream of BRM5. Not a bad thing at all. Do not scoff at the average guns in this game, because the average guns are strong, dude. AK-74 and M4A1, I come back to these guns all the time. AK-74, I come back more often than the M4A1, I will admit. I'm more of an AK guy myself. I also think the AK-74 is hot. Just saying. But they're both really, really accurate guns. They both have their trade-offs, of course, as well. AK-74 is more accurate, but slower firing. M4A1, faster firing, but less accurate. But both are very, very manageable in recoil terms. I just kind of like the AK-74's feel more. Just a personal thing. Both very strong guns. Both very cheap guns. I think AK-74 is like 1,000 cash. M4A1 might be also 1,000 cash, but also could be like 1,200. I don't really remember. It's either way. Both are very, very cheap guns, and both are amazing beginner guns. Cannot recommend them enough. SG553, also going to put that in A tier. I'm also going to throw the AK-5 in there as well. And there is... Where is it? Am I blind? Well, I don't know. Scar L, I feel like is... I'm not a fan of the Scar L. They did the rework of the recoil, which is so much better than the old, like, bouncy recoil. Like, it's so much more manageable. But they're just so mid. You know what I'm saying? I also kind of want to put the AK-5 and SG553. You know what? I'm going to put them in there. These guns are very, very forgettable for me. I never, ever come back to them. Granted, SG553, AK-5, and Scar L, I feel like those are... Well, Scar L, I'll exempt from this example. SG553 and AK-5, I feel like are guns that not really many people care about. But the people who do care about them are very devout, okay? I'm sorry if I offended you all. They are good guns. They're really cool guns. But honestly, AK-5, the only reason I know this gun is from Battlefield. SG553... just seeing that every once in a while in like a video or something like that. They're not as they're good guns in BRM5. You know what I'm saying? But there's something off about them. I can't really explain it. They're just okay guns. You know what I'm saying? AK5 I actually would put in A tier. It's kind of hard because AK5 is like really manageable recoil, very good fire rate. SG553, it's kind of hard. Scar L I feel like is just too slow of a fire rate to really do much. But SG553 and AK5, they feel good. You know, they feel strong enough. Krinkov, AKS-74U. I'm gonna put that in B tier. I just kind of prefer the AK-74 over it. It's not bad. The 45 round magazine is really nice on it as well. It does have one-shot head. I don't know. Its recoil is a little much for me, but overall, it's an alright gun. There's not much else I can really say about it. It's just kind of there. The Groza. Now, this is a gun that a lot of people complain about, just because it has no customization, which I think is true. It does kind of suck it doesn't have like as much customization, but to say it's bad because of that, I think is absolutely wrong, and that needs to be justified and put into A tier. I am sorry, and just because I'm gonna go say this now, AK-103 is worse than the Groza. I will die on this hill. I do not care. The Groza has worse irons, less customization, yes, but more RPM, and this thing just chews, dude. The AK-103 is a very, very, very strong gun still. A lot of people are still reminiscing of the Viper days and still complaining about it. You know who you are. I'm thinking about you right now, man. I know if you see this video, I am thinking about you in particular. You know who I'm talking to. AK-103, still a very, very strong gun. Get over it, okay? I'm sorry. Groza is just the AK-103, but faster firing, and honestly, it's good. I hip fire all the time with this guy. That's the thing with the Groza, is you gotta hip fire if you want to do well, because those irons are not gonna put in any work for you, my guy. Like, it's so hard to do well with it, but it's awesome. I'm sorry. It just the Groza's awesome. AK-103 is very strong as well, but yeah. If you're a loser, use the AK-103 over the Groza. They have identical stats, just AK-103 has more less RPM but more customization, and vice versa for the Groza. M16A4 and M16A2, I'm also going to put these bad boys in A tier. Super underrated. Like, oh my god, I don't understand why so many people are like, oh, they're bad. No, they are not. 3-round burst, 6-shot min is completely underrated. Even back in Viper, these guns were absolutely insane because they were a 3-round burst and they would 3-shot limbs. They were slept on so hard. You could just one burst a guy like at any time, and people were saying that those guns were bad. Granted, I know at the same time we also had the AK-74, which is 2-shot everywhere, which is still the balancing back then was still like so insane, like absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, if it came back for a day, I think that'd be so funny, but not the point. M16A4, M16A2 are awesome. I like the M16A2 over the A4 just because I think the irons go completely hard and the stock handguard is awesome. M16A4 is just the M16A2, but you get customization. The only reason I bought it back in the day is because I thought it was automatic. I'm sure a lot of other people also made that mistake, but it's not. It's also burst. It's just the M16A2, but more customizable. You know, whatever you really want with that. LD5A2, A tier as well. AUG 3, AUG 1 and AUG 3. I'm going to go and put in A tier. I love the, S tier. AUG 1, I prefer over the AUG 3. I think the stock scope goes unbelievably hard and is way better than the AUG 3. But they have identical stats. Not much to really say about it. LD5A2, I would say is worse than the AUGs. They are very similar in that they were low recoil, great all-rounder guns. You know, they've both AUGs. AUG, I'm just gonna keep, whenever I reference the AUGs, I'm talking about the AUG 3 here because AUG 1 is identical. The AUG and LD5A2 were very, very similar. I would say whenever the LD5A2 was first added, they basically went head to head in your competition because it was, like I was saying, AUG 3 had more RPM but more recoil. LD5A2 had less RPM but less recoil. Both were laser beams and just did really, really, really well. Nowadays, the AUGs and the LD5A2 have been nerfed a couple times. They've both been given more recoil, and I don't see the AUGs as much, even though these things used to be like The AUGs back in the day are the HK416s that we have now. Like, I mean, these guns were everywhere. You cannot escape them. And you still see them every once in a while, of course. But definitely nowhere near as often because of the HK. LD582, also strong. I think this gun is completely ugly. That's not even a thing of, like, the BRM5 devs doing that. It's just whoever designed it. I'm not even going to find out who even. I don't care, okay? I don't care. LD582 is such an ugly gun. The Brits did it so dirty with it. The entire L85 series, L86, whatever. Ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Some of the worst guns that have ever been created. G36, B tier. I really, really wish I could give it a higher rank. I think it's a cool gun, but it just sucks. Back in the day, it used to be way better, and looking at it now, it's like, what happened to this gun, man? Like, what happened? If it was up to me, I would give this thing less recoil, and I'd probably move it up to A tier. But it's just it's just bad, man. Not much else to say. C782 and MK18, I'm going to go and throw in A tier. C782 is basically just the M4A1, but less recoil if you slap on all the attachments you possibly can. And MK18 is just the M4A1, but faster firing and more recoil. You know, that same thing I've kind of talked about before, where one gun's just fast firing, more recoil. One gun's less firing, less fire rate, and less recoil because of it. Not much else to say. That is my definitive tier list. Not my definitive tier list. I'm sure I'll make another one next February. But as of right now, this is the tier list. It's always kind of fun to go back and see how my opinions have changed over the years and stuff like that. But I feel like this is pretty accurate. I don't like the scars. I'm sorry. It's just a personal thing. MP7 I wish was better. The snipers I absolutely adore, by the way. It's just, yeah. You know? Just, yeah. Anyways, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic morning, evening, night, whatever it is.